Hello and welcome to my presentation today. My name is Abdullah AlRujaib and today I will talk to you about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, marine plastics and solutions from all around the world. Let's first explain what the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is. It was first discovered by Captain Charles Moore in the late 90s. While returning from participating in the Trans-Pac Yacht Race in 1997, Captain Charles Moore had his first encounter with ocean plastics and ocean plastic pollution. He says, "As a result of my 1997 encounter with plastic debris, my research soon changed focus to investigating and understanding the plastics era impact on our oceans. The GPGP is a large open area in the Pacific Ocean, covered with marine debris. It is the size of 2 states of Texas, and contrary to what many may think, it is not an island of accumulated garbage, but instead, tiny little pieces of floating debris. We can think of the GPGP as 2 distinctive garbage patches. The eastern garbage patch is located between California and Hawaii, while the western garbage patch is located near Japan. The 2 patches are linked by the North Pacific subtropical gyre. The GPGP consists mainly of plastics traveling clockwise along the gyre. So, how bad is it? Well, to understand the scale of the problem, picture this. There are 1.8 trillion pieces of plastic estimated to be floating in the patch right now. This totals up to a mass of 8 million metric tons. And that is the mass of around 22 Empire State Buildings. And the problem with plastic is that it does not degrade, but rather breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces of plastic called microplastics. And studies suggest that by the year 2050, the mass of plastics may even outweigh the mass of fish in the ocean. And the problem with plastics is not that it's just displeasing to the eye. It is much more serious. The problem can be divided into 3 major problems that can be connected. First is the problem of microplastics and how they continue to increase. Second are estrogenic effects on marine organisms. These occur as plastics absorb chemicals that can affect the estrogen level of fish and other organisms. And finally, disruptions in food chains. Take, for example, plastic fishing lines. When these fishing lines are thrown and left behind in the ocean, fish can easily tangle up in them and die. The dead tangled fish can attract other fish and lead them to their demise. Then, with weathering, these fishing lines could break down into microplastics. The microplastics can be seen as food by fish. The fish would eat it, choke, and die. The fish that survives could intake the chemicals absorbed by the plastic. These chemicals may have endocrine disrupting effects, and that same fish can end up being human food, introducing not only microplastics to a human's diet, but also very bad endocrine disrupting chemicals. So to recap, plastic fishing lines breaks apart into microplastics. The microplastics become fish food, and then fish becomes food for humans, and then humans consume plastics and EDCs. There are also other problems that come with the spread of plastics. Aside from the EDCs that are absorbed from the environment by the plastics, plastics can break apart and create different kinds of EDCs, which increases the problem. Plastic is capable of absorbing toxins other than EDCs, and as they float in the ocean, these toxins can travel to other places on Earth, spreading the pollution even further. They can also hinder marine organisms' abilities to capture CO2 from the atmosphere. So how did we get here? The rise of plastics came after World War II. The plastics industry decided that its products needed to be actual trash, because if they were thrown away, the consumers would buy more. And people were taught to throw their products away after use through commercials. To keep up the habit, organizations like Keep America Beautiful were founded to shift the blame of pollution on consumers through public safety announcements. One famous one is the Crying Indian ad. In 1971, Keep America Beautiful made an ad depicting a Native American crying a single tear after seeing the spread of pollution in America. Ads like these were so moving to people that people began to blame one another for the poor disposal of plastics rather than question why they were using disposable products in the first place. There are other drivers to the spread of plastic pollution. Some major companies practice misleading marketing by using the recyclable logo on their products. For example, some products in the USA have had the logo, but wouldn't be recycled in the US. Instead, they are shipped to other countries, spreading the pollution even further. The United States sends 1 million tons of plastic overseas a year. This endangers the environment, resulting in plastic seas like in Cambodia and Vietnam. Also, corporations to this day continue producing single-use products to sell. This is a major problem, and we're in desperate need of a solution. This solution must start from the source. This is what the Plastic Bank aims to do. The Plastic Bank is an organization aiming to remove plastics from the environment and use them as currency for people living in poverty. People can exchange collected plastics for clothes, food, telecom services, and educational programs. All by simply collecting plastic bottles and dropping them in a collection point, we'd be cutting down on the spread of plastics. Another good solution is the rise of zero-waste businesses. These are businesses that use their resources to eliminate waste as opposed to managing it by landfills or shipping across seas. Take, for example, Subaru. The company is 100% zero waste and shares its successful methodology with other companies and organizations all around the world. Also, Subaru vehicles are 96% recyclable. Companies that create products that are mainly plastic should definitely look into Subaru's actions and methodologies in forming and creating products that are recyclable. This will give rise to new high-end and innovative products that can also help in limiting the amount of plastics being sent out in the environment. We can also contribute to change by advocating for the spread of reusable products. Instead of using plastic straws, utensils, shopping bags, and bottles, there are many reusable, environmentally friendly versions to consider. Now that we've minimized the usage and spread of plastics, let's talk about the Ocean Cleanup Project. The Ocean Cleanup Project is a Netherlands-based nonprofit organization developing plastic extraction technology. They designed an artificial coastline to capture floating garbage in the ocean. Named System 001, the first prototype was tested in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. While they only clear the floating garbage, their systems are estimated to remove 50% of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in just 5 years. Now, let's shift gear and travel to my home country of Kuwait. The problem with Kuwait is that there is a rise of garbage on Kuwait's shores, accompanied with high endocrine system changes in Kuwait's fish. Local efforts began to tackle the problem by launching organizations and movements to raise awareness and advocate for change. Organizations like Kuwait's dive team's Guardians of the Sea have been very active in ocean cleanup. In 2016, and over 76 days, the Guardians of the Sea were able to extract 666 metric tons of garbage, 43 of which were plastic fishing lines. The team continues to embark on cleanup journeys, and in 2019, they were able to successfully extract 4 tons of garbage in a single day. Trashtag Kuwait is a non-profit grassroots organization dedicated to fighting the environmental impact of marine litter and waste pollution in Kuwait. Starting since April 2019, they have organized cleanups all around Kuwait. And since the 22nd of June of this year, 2020, Trashtag Kuwait has helped over 400 families install water filters in impoverished migrant communities that lack access to protected sources of water. The volunteers hope to reach a target of 500 families with this initiative and counteract the dependency on plastic bottles. Ocean Minded has launched an ad campaign in mid-2020 spreading awareness on ocean pollution with their goal of building an ocean-minded family that loves, protects, and respects the ocean. Our oceans are calling for change, and that change is the end of the plastics era. That is one of the best solutions out there. And remember, for these solutions to be effective, and to stop the spread of garbage patches across the globe, change must come from within. So be the change. It is when plastic is cut from our production conveyor belt that the problem would have a real solution. So call for change. Demand these companies to stop the usage of plastic in their products and return to their glass, paper, or other less environmentally damaging products. I hope you liked this video, and I hope that you share it with all your friends and families. Thank you so much for watching.